The morning air hung thick with sulphur and smoke as Corporal Hershel Woody Williams volunteered for what most Marines considered a suicide mission. Standing just 5 feet 6 inches tall, this quiet farm boy from West Virginia was about to undertake one of the most extraordinary individual actions of the Pacific War. In the next 4 hours, Williams would destroy multiple Japanese reinforced concrete pillboxes. Historical accounts vary between 3 and 7, using a 68-pound flamethrower. His actions would break a 3-day stalemate, allow the 21st Marines to advance 300 yards, and demonstrate how individual courage could alter the course of a major battle. While the exact number of positions destroyed remains debated by historians, what is undisputed is that Williams's assault fundamentally changed the battle for Iwo Jima's critical airfield. The Medal of Honor citation would later describe how Williams fought desperately for 4 hours and worked to wipe out one position after another, though it would not specify an exact count. What matters is not the precise number, but the extraordinary courage of one Marine who repeatedly approached deadly fortifications with a weapon that made him the primary target for every Japanese defender who could see him. Iwo Jima represented the culmination of Japanese defensive engineering. Under Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kuribayashi's direction, the island had been transformed into perhaps the most elaborate defensive position in military history. Kuribayashi, who had served as a military attaché in the United States in the 1920s and had traveled across America observing its industrial capacity, understood that Japan could not match American material superiority. His strategy relied on making the Americans pay the highest possible price for every yard of volcanic ash. The statistics of the Japanese defensive preparation remain staggering even today. Over 8 months, 21,000 Japanese soldiers and Korean laborers excavated more than 11 miles of tunnels, creating a subterranean network connecting approximately 5,000 cave positions and 300 separate fixed fortifications. The pillboxes facing Williams were not simple bunkers, but sophisticated defensive positions with reinforced concrete walls up to 4 feet thick, multiple chambers, interconnected tunnels, and ventilation systems specifically designed to counter flamethrower attacks. The construction had been brutal. Workers endured temperatures between 86 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit in the tunnels, with sulfur fumes so intense that gas masks were required. 25% of the garrison, about 5,000 men, was dedicated solely to tunneling work. They had studied American tactics from previous island battles and believed they had created positions that could withstand any assault. The M2-2 flamethrower that Williams would carry was a weapon born of desperate necessity. Weighing 68 pounds when fully loaded with 4 gallons of thickened gasoline, it could project flame up to 40 meters, 132 feet maximum, though its effective range was about 20 meters, 65 feet. The operator carried enough fuel for approximately 7 to 8 seconds of continuous fire, though experienced operators like Williams learned to use short bursts to conserve fuel and maintain tactical flexibility. The psychological impact of the flamethrower exceeded its physical capabilities. Death by flame represented a unique horror in warfare, one that challenged Japanese concepts of honorable death in battle. The weapon had become essential for reducing Japanese fortifications in the Pacific, but it came with terrible costs for those who wielded it. Flamethrower operators had the shortest life expectancy of any specialty in the Pacific theater, as they were immediately identifiable and became priority targets for every enemy weapon that could bear on them. Hershel Woodrow Williams was born October 2, 1923 in Quiet Dell, West Virginia, a community so small it barely appeared on maps. The youngest of 11 children, he grew up on a 35-acre dairy farm during the depths of the Great Depression. His father died when Williams was 11, leaving his mother to raise the family through poverty that would shape Williams' character with a resilience that would serve him on Iwo Jima. Williams had tried to enlist immediately after Pearl Harbor, but was rejected for being too short. The minimum height requirement was 5 feet 8 inches, and Williams stood only 5 feet 6 inches. When the Marines lowered their standards in May 1943 due to mounting casualties, he finally got in. He would later joke that the Marines were looking for people small enough to make harder targets. He joined the 21st Marines, 3rd Marine Division, as a demolition specialist, training with Bangalore torpedoes and satchel charges. It was only on Guam in July 1944 that he first used a flamethrower in combat, discovering an aptitude for the weapon that would define his place in history. Unlike many Marines who used the flamethrower once and never wanted to touch it again, Williams developed a methodical approach to the weapon, understanding that survival depended on tactics as much as courage. By the morning of February 23, 1945, the battle for Iwo Jima had been raging for 4 days. That same morning, Marines had raised the flag on Mount Suribachi, first at 10:30 a.m., then the more famous second flag raising in the early afternoon that would be captured in Joe Rosenthal's iconic photograph. But the flag raising, while symbolically important, didn't mean the battle was won. Of the approximately 21,000 Japanese defenders, more than 19,000 were still alive, waiting in their tunnels and bunkers. The 21st Marines had been trying to advance across the open ground near Airfield No. 1 for 3 days. Every attempt had been repulsed with devastating casualties. The Japanese had pre-registered every square meter with mortars and machine guns. Artillery had no effect on the bunkers. Naval gunfire just bounced off. 6 Sherman tanks had been destroyed trying to advance. The Japanese had anti-tank guns in concealed positions that would let the tanks pass, then hit them from behind. The morning of February 23rd found the Marines at a deadly